Welcome to this lesson that's going to provide some brief insight into the Articles of Confederation and the Constitutional Convention. The basics of what you need to know about these two different documents and governmental frameworks is after the American colonies declared their independence and were successful in the American Revolution, each state was charged with the task of creating its own government. One of the most common features of designing these new state governments is that the colonists wanted nothing to do with remnants of the structure that had existed prior to the Revolution. Instead, their goal was to make systems more democratic. Some states felt that creating separate branches was the best way to do this. The goal of separating branches in the state government was to prevent one government entity or branch from becoming too powerful. In addition, a focus on individual rights promoted by the concept of the Bill of Rights would help protect individualism. So people felt that their rights needed to be outlined in some kind of document. They were still upset about the way that they had been treated by the British, and they were wanting to abandon all structures and relations that would have reminded them of their relationship with the British. Why does this matter? It's really important to understand how the oppressed past of the colonies influenced the way that they set up their brand new government. While each state was busy setting up their government, it was also time to discuss the structure of the national government. In 1776, the Continental Congress started developing a national government plan based on the concept that it should be a republic. They were really opposed to anything that looked like a monarchy or anything like that. So the goal was really to make it be a republic as much as this was possible. There were disagreements, though, about how votes should be counted as far as each state and whether individual states within this national government should be in control of land beyond the Appalachian Mountains. What they arrived at originally was a decision known as the Articles of Confederation. Within these articles, the national government was equipped with very few powers due to the fear that this would promote tyranny or oppressive rule, like what the colonists had experienced under Great Britain's command. Under the article, each state was only allowed one vote in Congress, and this was another challenge for the new member states because they didn't feel that it was fair that some of them only got one vote, some of them had more population than others, more land than others, or what they believed to be more vested interest than other states. The national government had a few powers that included waging war, making money, signing treaties, or making peace. But although these were important, it was not enough to really equip them to accomplish the tasks for a brand new government. This meant that the most critical powers were left to individual states, like enforcing national laws and the authority to set taxes. The Continental Congress officially passed the Articles of Confederation in November 1777, and at this point it was sent to the states for ratification. But there were so many problems with this document that by July of 1778, only 8 states had ratified the articles. So it was clear that there were going to be challenges with this document, trying to find a happy medium between giving the government enough power to accomplish what it needed to without people voting in the states feeling like it was oppressive. The primary reason that there was so much disagreement over ratification of the Articles of Confederation had to do with the fact that this structure left the states in control of lands west of the Appalachian Mountains. So smaller states didn't have land claims in this area, and they weren't really inclined to ratify because they didn't feel like this was fair. Over the following 3 years, though, all states eventually gave up their claims to land in the West, and so finally these small states would begin to ratify the Articles and give the United States an official government. The Articles of Confederation were very weak, however, and this was a major problem for the new national government because Congress had borrowed a lot of money to pay for the Revolutionary War. And frustration over the Articles of Confederation and how the government was set up at this time led to a lot of outrage and events like Shays' Rebellion, which helped to further make the point that the Articles of Confederation were simply too weak. In the year 1786, several events occurred that would eventually cause a new government to be formed. It began with several requests to amend the Articles of Confederation due to their perceived weakness. So, as a result, 55 delegates were sent to the Constitutional Convention in 1787. Some of the most famous men in America at the time attended this Constitutional Convention, but it still didn't reflect the diverse population in America. There were no women, there were no Native Americans, there were no African Americans present. So yet again another challenge. A lot of the Native American struggles after the conclusion of the Revolutionary War were that they simply weren't even included or considered in the conversation. And when it came to the Constitutional Convention, the same thing was true for African Americans and women. Proposed plans at this second Constitutional Convention went through numerous amendments before forming the new national government. One of the primary arguments at this conference had to do with to what extent slaves would count as people, and this led to what's known as the Three-Fifths Compromise. So the slave population could be counted. It's the fraction of slaves that could be counted when direct taxes were sent to the states. So this was really a transition from the Revolutionary War to one of the issues that would set the tone for some time in America's history, and that was slavery.